Before I tell you this story, I want to tell you a bit about myself. I'm your average wannabe developer, constantly building in a studio, trying to learn Lua, and constantly fantasizing about my super popular, super successful game, and all my fans. I'm also a bit of a myth fanatic. Here I've never believed in the occult, nor have I believed in any conspiracy theories within a children's MMO, but I loved the idea of all of these creepy stories. John and Jane Doe, Jerry, Melvin, and so on and so forth. Here nowadays, though, I stay away from that. I don't know whether this was a prank or some serious fishy business, but it's given me my fill of creepiness. Alright, here's what happened. Here I logged onto Roblox, sometime in December, to play some games, build some models, and chat with my friends. Seeing that one of my good friends was online, I opened my chat and invited her to a party. She then told me that she had to leave to do some shopping. Per the usual, she was always busy. Shortly after that, I got a notification from a user called 4NN1, Leet Speak for Annie, I gathered. It was fairly innocent, with the misspellings and grammar of your average young girl, complete with one too many smileys. It read as follows.
Hi. I saw your place and I think you are very good at building. I think we shall be friends. We can hang out in my place. It will become famous one day if you help me.
Honestly, I would have ignored it under normal circumstances. This girl's probably 10 years old, at most, trying to become popular, and have a lot of cool friends. However, I had been invited to this party, despite never seeing this user before. I've set my chat privileges to friends only, and she's not on my friends list. I double-checked all of these multiple times. No, my followers weren't allowed to chat with me. No, users I follow wasn't allowed to chat with me. Even if they could, she wasn't following me, I wasn't following her. Of course, it could easily be a glitch. After all, I do remember sending random party requests to users I didn't know, just for kicks. I chatted back at her, thanks for the compliments, but who is this? Are you one of Delara's little friends? A few seconds passed, and she replied,
I do not know a Delora 3, but please come to my place.
So it wasn't some playmate of my sister's. I decided to leave it at that, and go play some different games. Only a few minutes later, 4NN1 messaged me again.
I said come to my place.
I ignored it, continuing to play games. I didn't need to get involved with some first grader, needy for attention. I don't really like kids, and I prefer to play by myself. Youth-hating introvert master race. She continued to message me. I stopped reading them pretty quickly, but she kept messaging me. The constant string of notification beeps grew irritating, so I muted my browser. Eventually, I left my game 4NN1 had stopped messaging me, and so I closed my chat window. Mistake. She picked up her pace right away, and despite closing the chat box, it kept popping up again, a Roblox feature that, time and time again, has frustrated me to no end. In the end, I decided that I'd join her game, even if only to make her shut up. That may have also been a mistake. I joined the game, which was simply titled 4NN1's Place. The description was the default as well. The place itself was the generic starter place, with everything colored a bright shade of pink. with free models of flowers, cats, and dogs. 4NN1 was already in the game, waiting for my arrival. Upon seeing me, she typed several messages, overly excited that I was in her game.
OMG. OMG, 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 OGM, OMG, 11. Welcome.
That was pretty much all there was. She told me a bit about how much she liked cookies, and how much she liked cats. After about 10 minutes, she informed me that her mother had told her it was time for bed. She then said her goodbyes and left the game. I followed suit. Only being the evening for me, I opened up Roblox Studio and worked on various models before eventually turning in early. 4NN1 didn't message me for the rest of the week, allowing me some precious time to forget about her. In fact, when she messaged me again, it took me a little while to realize it was her. 4NN1 asked me to come to play with her again. I gladly obliged, knowing that I'd avoid major annoyances. However, her message bothered me. She had been replacing her usual smileys with frowners, and even her avatar's face didn't look too good either. However, other than those two rather jarring things, she kept her upbeat attitude. It wasn't any of my business, so I didn't ask. Probably upset over some rude kid at school or something. 4NN1 simply chatted at me while I was in her place. I was multitasking, playing phone games and not really paying attention to 4NN1. However, I put my phone down once she started asking some rather disturbing questions.
Do you ever want to touch the rusty nails? Have you ever eaten a raw dog? Where do you live?
I patiently told her to stop asking these questions, as they made me uncomfortable. She didn't. She just kept asking the same questions, telling me that I couldn't leave until I answered them. At this point, I had had enough and left the game. I blocked 4NN1, and didn't hear from her again. That's what was supposed to happen. Only 2 days later, she sent me several angry and upset messages, with the disturbing questions from before mixed in. She wanted me to come back to her game because I had cheated by not answering her questions. She tried everything from guilt-tripping to insulting me, and even to serious claims of how she only had so many days left to live. I continued to ignore it, muting my browser, and playing a different game. I joined a game of Death Run to pass the time but was instead redirected to 4NN1's place. Instead of in the lovely island lobby of Death Run, I was in the all-too-familiar ugly pink cabin. 4NN1 wasn't happy to see me, despite getting her way. She asked me why I hated her, why I kept leaving, and why I was so mean. I politely told her to calm down. She did but continued to stay somber and upset. After that, I really hoped that I'd never had to see her again. But, of course, I was dragged into playing with this maniac of a girl again. Her avatar's appearance had changed again. There was a streak of red across her face, and the dogs in her yard had disappeared. This time, 4NN1 didn't yell at me or ask any disturbing questions. She chatted with me about the things she liked again, but without her usual pep. After a while, 4NN1, rather suddenly, said this.
It's hot in here.
She left the game immediately after. Her pink house set ablaze, and the sky grew dark. My morbid curiosity led me into the burning house. Inside was a dark, burning figure, with a grotesque smile. I left the game and logged off of Roblox. I felt sick to my stomach. If this was a prank by some exploiter, it was a downright disgusting one. I stayed off of Roblox for a few weeks, and when I came back, I was somewhat relieved to see that she hadn't contacted me. I never saw her again.